Welcome to Dirty Laundry. We apologize for our technical difficulties last show, but truth be told, it was probably funnier when you couldn't hear us. This week, however, we are back to continue our ritual of supplying you with a weekly migraine. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up on Monday, and I believe it's important to take a minute to understand why this holiday represents an important opportunity, despite the fact that, as a general rule, most of society can agree that it is a terrible, terrible holiday. Whether your reason for thinking this is because of your distaste for the incredible commercialization that has taken place, your anger at having to spend a bunch of money on crappy flowers and terrible tasting candy, or just your jaded, depressing loneliness. In any case, if we all agree that Valentine's Day is worthless, then we may be able to smooth out some of our nation's most tense relationships. None of these relationships serves as an example quite as well as Iran. Since the beginning of the 21st century, Iran has banned the production and sale of Valentine's Day cards, roses, and even teddy bears. Maybe President Ahmadinejad could join us at the bottom of a bottle as we sit around to talk about how much it sucks to drop $80 on roses only to have your girlfriend tell you a month later that you never give her flowers. There's a damn holiday for roses. You don't complain about not getting Christmas presents on a regular basis. There is no complaining when we don't bake a full turkey once a month. And even when we do try to celebrate a holiday on a regular basis, you claim that getting hammered and fighting a Scotsman isn't an acceptable way to rejoice in our Irish roots. Society, I submit to you a double standard. Granted, it would be a fair argument if you were to say that maybe all Ahmadinejad needs is a big old teddy bear to cuddle with. That would probably be a little less risky than that enriched uranium that he's been seen embracing. On tonight's episode, we investigate why Obama's electric car initiative doesn't have a chance, the highlights from last weekend's Super Bowl, and I don't mean football, and a new idea for legislators looking for whores. Let's do this, Ames. Well, the weather sucks, and everyone is complaining. So, our lead story, the weather. Shocking. I usually like to go against the grain, but when I've lost 7 fingers and a toe, you'll have to believe me, to frostbite and have broken at least 3 windshield scrapers, it's hard to avoid the inevitable. 10,000 flights were canceled. Wheat prices have skyrocketed due to crop damage. Roofs across Boston are collapsing, and most remarkably, ISU received the gracious gift of a half snow day this snowpocalypse, Armageddon of snow, catastrophe, a snowalation, snowtastrophe. It has caused widespread panic across the Midwest. Here's what I have to say. Shut up! It's not the Armageddon of snow. It's winter. living in Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, and for God's sakes, Minnesota. You should have accepted your fate. You'll be cold. Get over it. The only sign that the world may be ending because of the cold is the resurrection of a 12,000-year-old mammoth. Scientists hope to extract DNA from a carcass that has been preserved in Russia and insert the DNA into egg cells of an African elephant. Well, I'm all for bringing back the dinosaurs so I'm able to roam the streets with a brontosaurus. The mammoth is the symbol of the Earth's ice age. Bring that baby back during this storm and our world is going to start looking like this.
Come on, sing! Louder, come on, sing! Come on! Yes, come on, louder!
We're going to defrost and be back. Stay tuned. You're watching Dirty Laundry on ISU TV.
There is a place where a total stranger will give you their blood. There is a place where someone you never knew will save your child from drowning. A place where people from 7 states away will turn up at your door and give you food and shelter after a flood. There's a place where a person who doesn't look like you, talk like you, or dress like you will stretch out their hand and put it across your shoulders and say, everything is going to be okay. That place is called America, where we look out for each other, and it's up to us to keep it that way. When you help the American Red Cross, you help America.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me back.
If you'll figure out Jody's gonna move.
Hey, did you tell your parents about us? Let's skip first period together. Did you get all my texts? Is practice over yet? Where are you at? Are you with your friends? That's L-A-A-A-A-M-M-E-E-E. Capital X, lowercase o, capital X, lowercase o.
I love you. JK. I hate you. JK.
Are you ignoring me?
We're in a huge fight right now.
Is this something I did?
I can see your lights on. I'm coming
This
over.
isn't a
What'd you
joke.
dream about?
Me?
I'm lonely. Holla back.
Holla back.
Let's try something new. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Welcome back. Last week, it was announced that the U.S. had canceled its soccer match against Egypt, which was supposed to take place on February 9th. But due to rioting in Egypt, it was determined that the game should not take place. Some confusion comes into the picture, however, when you realize that their logic, it's all wrong. We all know that soccer games can cause riots, but how come riots can't cause soccer games? You know, maybe it would solve everything if we tossed a ball into the Egyptian riots and let the protesters try to take on Mubarak and his regime. I can tell you right now that had a game been held between the British Empire and Gandhi, those imperial bastards would have found out that the last person you want to play in soccer is a scrawny guy who really, really doesn't want to get in a fight. I'd like to take a moment of silence to recognize one of the greatest contributions to music, the White Stripes. The band announced last week that they will no longer make sweet, sweet music for the masses. This move by the divorced couple is a move done out of respect for the music made, rather than a personal choice from the artists themselves. The Whites released a statement saying, quote, "The White Stripes do not belong to Meg and Jack anymore. The White Stripes belong to you. Now you can do whatever you want with it. The beauty of art and music is that it can last forever if people want it to." End quote. This is eloquent and refined, and it hasn't come from a musician in, ever. The fact that a talent can recognize when their contribution has been made and their purpose has been served and then not burn out, sell out, and turn to a life of media whoring is refreshing and enlightening. Despite the loss of a talented group with true musicianship, I'm hoping this can inspire some other people to retire and leave their craft to their fans. I've comprised a little list of those who should take notice. You too. You guys had one decent song in the 90s. Retire and leave your music for the car commercials. Joe Montana. You had a respectable career, but now you lend your face to Skechers shape-ups. Take your newly toned bun and thighs to the retirement home, pal. Winona Ryder. You were fantastic in the 90s. The relationship between you and Ethan Hawke is an inspiration to all who can chain smoke without a regular bathing schedule. Now, you're weird and creepy. So, in honor of the departing of actual musical talent from the scene, I'd like to take a moment to remember back to all the good times. That tripped over the boat. Motion. In the latest State of the Union, President Obama declared war on gas. He proclaimed that by 2015, there will be 1 million electric cars on the road. However, he may have missed one important detail. Who the hell wants an electric car? What consumer in their right mind would choose a Nissan Leaf over a Ford Mustang? Who would want to be seen driving around in a Sun Motor coupe when they can feel the wind in their hair and a hot blonde to their right in a Chevy Camaro? I mean, even Vince Vaughn's new movie touched on the subject.
Gentlemen, electric cars are gay. I mean, not homosexual gay, but, you know, my parents are chaperoning the dance. Gay. B&B engine design can combine the benefits of electric transportation with the rock and rollness of Dodge's current muscle car models that we've all grown to know and love.
And
Now, while his wording is inappropriate and unacceptable, it does hit a point. Driving an electric car is like your parents chaperoning the prom while you're trying to score with your date. So, while Obama, I applaud your efforts at saving the environment, let's try to do it in a way where I don't have to sacrifice getting chicks. It was announced yesterday that production of Guitar Hero would be discontinued next year. This news has shocked the world, as now people who have no musical talent will have to find another way to annoy everyone. We're going to take a break and come back hard. Hard!
Time.
That's normal for kids.
Are you sure?
Kids get sick all the time.
But he's always getting infections.
Who's the doctor?
Who's his mother?
If your child is repeatedly sick, it may be PI, primary immunodeficiency disease, a defect of the immune system. The only way to rule it out is by testing.
This is making me crazy.
Take it easy.
Don't take it easy. Talk to us about PI. If you don't know what's wrong, you can't make it right.
She's constantly sick, Doctor.
Children are always sick.
This seems different.
All mothers feel that way.
But she's always getting infections.
Like I said, you're her mother.
Yes, we've established that.
If your child is repeatedly sick, it may be PI, primary immunodeficiency disease, a defect of the immune system. The only way to rule it out is by testing.
I can't take this.
Calm down.
Don't calm down. Talk to us about PI. If you don't know what's wrong, you can't make it right.
You know, recently a woman wrote me to say nobody cares what happens to her money. Well, that's just not true. For 75 years, the FDIC has protected the money you deposit in banks. Those depositors have never lost 1 penny in the history of the FDIC. So here's the bottom line. You just can't put your money in the bank and not know how FDIC insurance works. You have got to make sure your money is 100% protected. So I want you to go to myfdicinsurance.gov and click on Edie the Estimator. In just a few simple steps, Edie lets you know if all your money is safe and sound. If I were you, I would want to know that. Who cares more about your money than you, me, and the FDIC?
Susie's right. Visit myfdicinsurance.gov and use Edie the Estimator, because the more you know, the safer your money.
America is turning over a new leaf. the Smart Way leaf. Smart Way from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is changing the way America drives. Look for the Smart Way leaf to help you identify environmentally friendlier cars and trucks. Smart Way certified cars and trucks are more fuel efficient, produce fewer greenhouse gases, and can save you money. And when you're helping the environment, it's a nice reflection on you. Smart Way, because it's time America turned over a new leaf. Follow the leaf. Go to www.epa.gov/smartway.
This week's frigid temperatures have affected our staff here at Dirty Laundry. Here with all the fun stuff you didn't really need to know are sneezing and coughing senior correspondents Claire Powell and John Lonsdale.
Hey, Jeps.
Hey, Jeps. Hey, Jeps, you got a cold?
Yeah, it's this darn weather. I'm sick of it. Literally.
Me too. You know what I'm surprised didn't make you feel better?
What's that?
The Super Bowl this past weekend.
I don't like the Packers.
What are the Packers?
I love the commercials, though. Did you see that Darth Vader kid?
Remember those What's Up commercials?
Oh, those were my favorite.
Me too. What other commercial had so much impact on America after it aired?
Oh.
Look at this.
Watching the game, having a bud.
Choo choo.
What's up? What's up? Yo, who's that?
Yo, pick up the phone. Hello?
What's up?
But this one's hilarious. This one's it. Okay. This is it.
Yo.
But they could also have a downside. Oh.
Oh.
Oh no. Yo, who's that? Yo, pick up the phone. Hello? Who's that?
Was that a baby and a son?
Yep.
You know what? One thing I really could have done without was the halftime show.
Yeah.
As if I weren't in enough pain.
You know, they were like a whole other group when they came to the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, but for the life of me, I can't think of that one guy's name.
Fergie?
No.
Will.i.am?
No, that's not it. No.
That Apple guy?
No, that's not it either.
Oh, you mean Taboo. Also known as Jamie Louise Gomez, born July 14th, 1975. I think he's 35 years old. Yeah. I think he currently resides in Boyle Heights, but Los Angeles? Yeah, but I don't think I know that much about him, I guess.
Yeah.
But honestly, anyway, yeah. I think we could do a better rendition of Sweet Child of Mine with our colds.
They got a smile that seems to me the rising of childhood memories. Instead of, sweet child of mine.
Bless you, Jeps.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, maybe not so much, but kind of tired. I need some NyQuil. This cold just got me feeling horrible.
Well, I think we should put our deuces up and say peace out to this
Well, thank you, John and Claire, for another insightful segment. We'll be back after the break. Stay tuned.
Years ago, I received a kidney transplant. When I was 21 years old, I started dialysis, and for 7.5 years, I was a patient receiving treatments 3 times a week for 4 hours each session, and man, it was hard. My father had kidney disease, so I knew what was to be expected when my kidneys failed. After receiving my kidney transplant, I was able to find and marry the love of my life. She's just someone I can joke with, someone I can cook with. I appreciate being able to be the husband that she deserves. When I was sick, I barely had enough strength to walk across the parking lot going to the movies with my brothers. But after my transplant, my strength and energy came back, and I was able to run around and play with my nieces and nephews, which is very important to me. My kidney transplant gave me my life back.
You have the power to donate life. Be an organ, eye, and tissue donor. To find out how, go today to iowadonorregistry.org.
Hey, it sure feels good to play like a kid again.
After a car accident, Linda Davis needed CPR. Bill Hamilton needed temporary shelter when a fire destroyed his home. During an operation, Haley Reynolds needed a blood transfusion.
Excuse me, may I go into that room, please?
Next year, revenue growth again will be a focus.
Thank you for giving me blood.
Thank you for giving me shelter.
Thank you for saving my life.
Support the Red Cross and change a life, starting with your own.
Guess we'll find. Yesterday, Christopher Lee announced his resignation. Now, this is the less terrifying Christopher Lee. There he is. There we go. This is GOP Representative Christopher Lee of Western New York. According to Gawker.com, Representative Lee resigned just 3 hours after this picture, giggity, appeared on their website, along with reports that Lee had emailed the picture to a woman who had posted an ad on Craigslist looking for a Washington lobbyist that, quote, doesn't look like a toad, end quote. Other than this picture being eerily similar to the self-taken photos that 16-year-olds use for their Facebook profile pictures, what's the big deal? What is the big deal? Don't you think it's time that we give in and help the people in the representative bodies find a hookup by giving them their own dating site? A website that could connect some of the most wealthy and powerful people in the country? It'd be similar to jdate.com, but without the religious twist. We could call it legisdator.com. The only requirement to register would be that you are either a married representative that has made strong statements about your support of family values, or a prostitute. We know they are going to find each other eventually. Why not utilize technology and streamline the process? If congressional members need to send a few racy pictures to keep themselves productive in office, well, I say let them. As a society, can't we just agree that it's not cheating if it's online? Speaking of legislative bodies, the Associated Press reported this week that House Republicans have released a preliminary blueprint for spending cuts in the newly controlled Congress. The $35 billion in proposed cuts would focus on cutting funding in education, environment, food safety, and law enforcement. Shockingly enough, Republicans didn't give a lot of details about the cuts, but I'm going to take a minute and break down why it makes sense for cuts to be made in some of these areas. In education, the United States currently ranks in the teens amongst developed countries, which isn't bad comparatively speaking. However, one has to consider the fact that American government has operated for several years claiming that we will not accept anything but first place. But hey, just throw an asterisk next to it and explain how it's all right to be bad at education because we rank number 1 in the world by a long shot in defense spending. Who gives a crap if you're dumb as long as you can blow everyone else up? We won't get into the environmental protection spending cuts because I might have a brain aneurysm. Most important is food safety. Who cares if the ground beef and the burgers and tacos that we eat and feed to our kids off the dollar menu are only 40% meat and 60% chemical? I mean, all I care about is that it's 100% delicious.
The Pro Bowl was announced and played 2 weeks ago in Hawaii. In the midst of all the hype and build-up for the game, Bill Belichick was told that microphones would be used so that coaches and players could be heard calling plays. Belichick then quickly said, quote, "I thought the Pro Bowl was different from every other game." Moving now to X Games news, it was announced that all X Games medals would be stripped and all participants deemed ineligible in a post-competition ruling after a secret rule change had banned athletes that tested positive for marijuana. In Major League Baseball news, it was announced that veterans Johnny Damon and Manny Ramirez would be joining the Tampa Bay Rays next season. It would seem that in moving to Florida, they're letting us know that their careers aren't the only things near death. This has been your Jockstrap Update. I'm John Lonsdale.
That's all for now. Check us out again next Thursday at 8 p.m. and online at isutv.stuorg.iastate.edu. I'm your host, James Redler, and you stay flexible, Ames.